I know how much money I need to make at minimum. My check engine light popped up. I brought it to the dealership. So this is after expenses and taxes. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, just because I'm making money doesn't mean I don't have bad days or slow days. Profit is important, but you still have to make enough money. If you're doing 80 cents per mile in a Prius, you're doing better than someone in a BMW who's doing 80 cents per mile. I'm gonna pull the top 5 cities from my YouTube channel and look in those cities to see how much those drivers are making. There's an app that can do this for you. The first thing I do is I show how much I make in the apps, and then I take you over to my spreadsheet to break down the actual numbers. So here it is with Uber. Didn't do too much Uber last week. My city, I consider it to be a Lyft city, where most of the good things that happen come from Lyft. But there are scenarios where taking Uber is pretty good, or if it's too slow on Lyft, I'll run both apps and take whatever pops up first. Wednesday, we didn't have too much going on, 30 minutes online, and we made $14.76. Not great, not bad. If you were to average it out to an hourly rate, it'd be a little less than $30 an hour, which, if you go by some YouTubers, it's not a lot of money. But I think that's a good middle ground. I think $30 an hour that's when I'm happy. $25 an hour is when I start to feel like I might be wasting my time. But at $30 an hour, I'm pretty satisfied. So this is Lyft, where I've been doing most of the driving last week. Tuesday, just not a great day. We did $38. It was a slow day, is what I'm saying. So $30, 35 cents for about 2 hours. Only took 4 rides. On Wednesday, January 10th, we did $158 over 8 rides. Still a little slow. Tuesday, we had the storm, so I pretty much stayed home. The winds were blowing really, really hard, and the students weren't even out, and to me, it just wasn't worth it at the time. Wednesday, first day of classes, I thought it'd be a little busier. We did some morning routes and some night routes. We did 158, 8 hours, pretty much 9 hours, 3 tips. Tips are very bad that day. Scrolling up, Thursday, January 11th, we did 4 hours, 43 minutes, $180.81, 5 hours. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good start. I'm not gonna do the math in my head. I am tired. I have been driving a lot, and I've just been sleeping and waking up, and I don't want to miss my live streams. So Friday, things are getting a little better. $183 for another 6 hours. Students are back. It's still cold, so not a lot of them are going out. But this is the slow period in my city, and I'll take these numbers. These numbers aren't too bad for it being slow in my city. And I'm in Charleston, if you guys don't know. So this is Saturday. We did 29 rides over 8 hours and 38 minutes. That's pretty good. We averaged more than, let's see what that averages out to be. I'm gonna bring my calculator out. So my calculator, we did 8 hours and 38. So we're gonna call it 0.5. So 29 rides divided by 8.5. That should give us the amount of rides we did per hour. So I did 3.4 rides per hour. So knowing how many rides you can do per hour in your market is pretty important. It lets you to be able to think about your ride challenges. All right, I got this crazy ride challenge. The one I have for this week is 145. Is it 145? No, 120. So it's for 120 rides, and I have 4 days to do it. So we divide that by 4. So I have to do 30 a day. And if I work, let's call it 12 hours a day, then we see I need to do 2.5 hours per day. Now, I might not be able to hit the same amount of rides on a weekday as I would on a weekend, but just knowing what you're capable of doing enables you to plan on if something is or isn't possible. Actually, my latest video I posted talks about how to break down if a ride challenge is or isn't possible. So moving on to the last day on Sunday, I did 19 rides in 5 hours and 11 minutes. I think that's pretty sweet. Let me see. We'll just do 19 divided by 5. So 3.8 rides per hour. That's pretty dope. I really wanted to get these rides done before 11 so I can get the ride challenge, and then I could jump back on the road. So actually, after I did this, I went home, I got some dinner, I slept for about 4 or 5 hours, and then I woke back up for 5 a.m., woke up a little late, and then I drove, I think up until 10, 11, came home, slept, and I'm here with you guys. So I'm out here working. I am out here working. You can disagree with the hustle, but you can't disagree with the fact that I'm actually out here doing it. All right, so now we can look at the spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet I made. I use it to track everything you automatically put in your values, and it just automatically tells you what's going on. So you can see my mileage. I have it separated based off of personal and business because that's how the IRS wants it. So I try to make this as IRS compliant. This is January 24th. You can see my starting mileage. Started at 125,683. And I'm currently at 128,175. I've driven 2,394 miles. Let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. Yeah, it's just a little bit. My personal mileage is 98. So in order to accurately track your mileage, you cannot, unless you're doing considerable accounting, that those are the IRS words, at your home, you can't put that you started at home as business mileage. You need to leave your home, either go to the spot that you would normally like. For me, I leave my home, I go downtown, and once I'm downtown, that's when my personal mileage ends. Or if I go to the gas station, right? Going to the gas station is a, for business reasons, is a business expense. So usually when I'm coming home, I'll go to the gas station, I'll fill my gas tank up, and then I'll use personal mileage from gas station to go home, because going to the gas station was business mileage. So that's something you need to be aware of, just in case you're ever audited. I didn't know this. My first year, a commenter reached out to me and corrected me, and I'm extremely thankful that he did, because if he didn't do that, then this mileage tracker that I made wouldn't have been IRS compliant. And it's important for me that it is. So if we move over, we can see our weekly totals. I'm gonna go through the monthly summary, but I am gonna let you know there is a Lyft referral that's in this. I'm gonna go through the summary once, take the Lyft referral out, because I don't think that's fair to you guys. I get Lyft referrals if someone clicks my referral link in the description. And I don't, when it comes to like analyzing numbers, I just think it's unfair if I put my Lyft referrals in there. The total is $3,645.35 over the course of 82 hours and 27 minutes. This includes everything from January 1st up until now. That works out to a per hour of $44.21 with the mileage of $2,394. Gonna move over. So that breaks down to a per mile of $1.52, and a per, well, expenses, I have $390.94. That's not the full story of my expenses. At the end of the month, the last week of the month, I am going to, I decided to do it that way at the beginning of the month, but I now realize that's a mistake. So for February, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of my monthly recurring expenses, the things I know that I have to pay every month, into the spreadsheet before I even make any money. So that way, when I look at the spreadsheet, I know how much money I need to make at minimum to at least cover my expenses. So I'll do that next month. But for the sake of this month and for the sake of YouTube, I'm gonna keep you guys in mystery. So you can see the per mile. So this section up here, I need to label it a little better. It's really just for expenses. So $390.94 so far in expenses. $4 for air. I have a leak. I have a very slow leak that I need to fix. Gas is $210. And so we'll get to the gas in a second. Maintenance, $176. My check engine light popped up. I brought it to the dealership just so that they could tell me what's wrong with it, and that so that I could see if I could fix it myself. And I think I'm gonna end up fixing it myself. It's the mass airflow sensor, and I think based off of the video I've seen, I think I can fix that myself. But this is my favorite part of the spreadsheet. So calculates your mileage write-off. You're based off of the 67 cents per mile, I think it is, 2024. And it tells you your taxable income. After doing some math, you can put in your estimated tax rate, and then it shows you your estimated taxes, which for me is $204.14. And then shows you your true net. So this is after expenses and taxes. My true net is $3,050.27. I know a lot of people always jump in the comment thinking I spend like half of my income on expenses, when it's closer to like 10%, right? So my true net is $3,050, and so about $600 out of the $3,000 that I've made so far this year, about $600 is going towards expenses and taxes, estimated taxes. So my true hourly would be 37, but these numbers will change a bit once we take out the Lyft referral. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see kind of what I'm rocking with. So you put in your dailies and then your time, and then it automatically tells you what you're making per hour. So this is like New Year's. This is not normal stuff. This is normal for New Year's, but this is not overall normal values. 34, that's a good night. I have bad nights, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, just because I'm making money doesn't mean I don't have bad days or slow days. Like I said, it's slow in my market right now. We're doing $20 an hour. I haven't averaged $20 an hour in a very long time. Another $19.76 an hour, $21.33 an hour. This was good. $38.28, $19, $18, $38, $31, $44, $37, $29. So there's some good hours in there, and there's bad hours. So it's just, that's how it is sometimes. There are ebbs and flows to it. You have to know your market very well, and sometimes I just push through. I don't quit just because I'm not making the greatest amount of profit, because my goal isn't just profit. Profit is important, but you still have to make enough money. I'm trying to pay off almost $100,000 in debt this year. And so sometimes if I just want to have that high dollar amount, I have to suffer through the bad times. It's just what it is. Without the referral fee in there, you can see my total is now $2,725. Hours don't change. My per hour is still 33.05. Not still, but it's gross. That's a pretty good number. I'm not mad at that. Could be higher, but it's slow season right now, so I'm okay with that. The per mile dropped down to $1.14. So even without the referral bonus, I'm still averaging over $1 per mile, which apparently that's just the minimum now. But I will say the average rideshare driver makes about 80 cents per mile. That's based off of data. And if you're doing average or better and you're doing it in a car that's not expensive to maintain, you're okay. If you're doing 80 cents per mile in a Prius, you're doing better than someone in a BMW who's doing 80 cents per mile. So because your car costs less. So it's not black and white, but just something to think about. My expenses wouldn't change. My expense per hour changes. So for every hour that I'm driving with the current expenses, this will probably go up a little higher. I'm doing $4.74. And then my expenses per mile is 16. So these numbers will go higher once I add in the rest of my expenses during the last week of January. And if you see, my mileage write-off is $1,600. My taxable income is now $1,121, 10% rate. My estimated taxes is $112.14. My true net is $2,222.27. And then my true hourly is $26.95. So $26.95 after taxes and expenses, I think it's pretty good, pretty decent. We're still in a slow period. Not a, like, if you're a W-2 worker, probably have to work like a $30 an hour job to be considered 26 an hour after taxes. You know, and I think that's kind of weird. I think it's important for drivers to know the gross and net after taxes. Something that we don't do is, like, when we as humans talk about working an actual job and we talk to like the people we know, we always tell them the amount we make gross. Right? We say, oh, we make $50,000 gross, or we make $25 an hour gross. But as soon as it comes to rideshare, we're always expected to talk in net, which I think is okay. So it's always important to differentiate that the expectation of numbers changes from independent contractor to employee. And you should always, in your brain, if you tell someone you made $26 net and they say, oh, well, I make $26 working my job, you just be like, yo, is that gross? Is that before taxes? Because after taxes, they're probably making less money than you. An employee that makes $26 an hour gross is going to pay significantly more in taxes than an independent contractor, a rideshare driver, that makes that same amount net. So that's something you just should think about. Now that we've seen how much money I've made, we are going to start looking at how much money are other drivers in my market making, and then how much money are other drivers in other markets making. I think I'm going to pull the top 5 cities from my YouTube channel and look in those cities to see how much those drivers are making. And there's an app that can do this for you. And this is the app.